Hi! So today I'm just going to be showing you and walking you through a little bit of what I've been building in my free time. I really like small form factor builds, and I thought it'd be fun to do something with a very small budget and a very small case. So what I'm building in is actually a lunchbox that I bought off eBay. I sized it up so that it would fit an ITX motherboard fairly well. A lot of this build is going to be sped up, and then sometimes I'll slow it down so that you can get a better look at what I'm doing. So as you can see, that cooler right there in the middle is actually fanless. So that one's rated for roughly 44 watts TDP, but those numbers are really rough. So you just have to kind of test it and see for yourself if it works on your CPU. I'm using an older i3, so it's plenty of cooling provided I have enough airflow. You can see towards the front there, I actually have two 40mm case fans. Each one is a PWM fan from Noctua, and they are functioning off of the motherboard fan headers. I'm using a GT 1030 as my graphics card because it comes in a nice fanless variant, and it's also low profile, so exactly what I need. And this whole build doesn't really use much power. In fact, it's probably around 100 watts at full draw, and during normal operation you're going to be pulling between 10 and 15 watts. So the GPU is held in on the front just by the two screws that go into the DVI connector. I really should have had the proper tools here, but they are elsewhere at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the SATA cable where it should be. I'm using a 1 terabyte solid state drive functioning off of SATA 3.0, so fairly high transfer rates. And here is my power supply. Not exactly what you're used to. It's actually from PicoPSU. This one's good for about 150 watt computer, and it can take in DC voltage rather than AC, just like a laptop. So in fact, I am currently powering it from a laptop charger, which is rated for that power. So the PicoPSU that I have is rated for 6 volts to 24 volts, and I'm giving it 19. Just hooking up the power button right there. SATA power, which I tried to do backwards for a while. I don't currently have a good permanent installation point for this drive, but it doesn't move while it's in there the way I have it installed, so I haven't been motivated to figure it out yet. Since the PicoPSU does not have a 4-pin CPU connector, I bought an adapter to go from the Molex connector that normally comes with the PicoPSUs and use that Molex connector to a 4-pin CPU power connector. Next, I try to install the RAM, which obviously I start backwards again because that's just who I am. That's one down. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM in here. They don't have any fancy heat sinks, and that's primarily because they just would not fit with the heat sinks. The PicoPSU inductors would impinge on any larger heat sinks, so this one just has bare chips. I use a XT80 power connector to connect from the laptop power supply, which is bolted to the motherboard I/O connector. I drilled a couple of holes in there for some exterior ports. And yes, that is pink pool noodle. I use it both as a way to hide wire and as a way to deaden sound, along with the bubble wrap, which is currently on the front, though that will be getting removed because I have a future project in the works for that top there. I bet you can probably guess what it is. And there's the lunchbox. So it's about 4 inches thick, about 8 inches, 8.5 inches, maybe 9 inches wide, about 7.5 inches tall. And those are my exhaust ports. And as you can see, very portable. Gonna get it hooked up real quick. And at this point, just so you can see startup, I put it on normal speed. The motherboard is actually an industrial motherboard, so it has a nice loud beeper on it for troubleshooting. Now what we have here is I'm running Prime 95 and Furmark, both obviously putting the GPU and CPU at full load. Primary reason is I wanted to get some maximum temperatures out of this cooling configuration, which is way outside of normal use. The GPU is not thermally throttling as well as the CPU. The GPU, however, is power throttling just because the 1030 has a fairly low power limit. I do actually overclock and undervolt this 1030 to get better performance out of it. And just to give you another closer picture of the inside, how things are laid out. And this is currently running, so it's a very quiet PC. It has good enough performance to play games like Guild Wars or OS, but probably not so much to play anything better than that. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that this sparks some ideas for you in the future.